What is up, peeps? My name is Dan, and welcome to the channel. So I do a weekly show called This Week in Real Estate with my buddy Ray Allen, who is in Arkansas. He's a realtor in Arkansas, which is that way. And we usually cover 10, 15, sometimes even 20 news stories every Wednesday. And the show can take about an hour, hour and a half. So I thought, what if I just hit the top 5 news stories and gave you a little more smaller dose of the show and a little more digestible version? So what are the 5 top stories in real estate this week? Before I get into them, I just want to say a quick thank you. Thank you for lending me your eyeballs and watching this video. I know there's a billion videos out there that I know I'm leaving it in. I know there's a billion videos out there that you could be watching. So for you to watch this one is greatly appreciated. And thank you for your energy and thank you for your time. All right. So the number one biggest news story, I think everyone knows what it is. It's the failure of Silicon Valley Bank. Now, this article is from Inman. So if you want that, I am going to link it down below in the description. And the title is Mortgage Rates Nosedive in Fallout from Silicon Valley Bank Failure. Now, did they really nosedive? No, they fell a little bit. Now, did the bank failure make that happen? They might have just been going down a little bit because they've been so volatile lately anyway, but this might have played a part of it because what's the first thing you think of when you think about a big bank failing? You immediately go back to 2008, right? So I think the Fed's decision here is they don't want to freak the American people out. So they're going to kind of chill on interest rate hikes for the next little while here. And my prediction is by the end of the year that they'll be about 5.5%, with hopefully more inventory coming on the market and the market just chilling out a little bit and have more of a normalized market because we haven't seen one in quite a while. But the article reads, it starts off with mortgage rates were headed sharply lower Monday as financial markets reacted to the failure of Silicon Valley Bank, with forecasters predicting that the Federal Reserve will ease up on rate hikes aimed at curbing inflation. As you know, rates have been going up like crazy for the past 8 months or so, with them being in the sixes for the past 3 or 4 months, and they've been hovering in the high sixes on average. Now they're back down about the 6.5% range. So now this article goes into a lot of detail about mortgage-backed securities and yields on 10-year treasuries, stuff that's way above my dumbass brain's pay grade. So if you want more info on it, do go click on that link below and check out the article because it'll break down things a little better than I can. I just wanted to touch on the fact that these banks are failing. Now, why they're failing, I could do another video on that, but people don't want to hear the big banks are failing because they're going to immediately think back to 15 years ago and how bad that was, how much of a crisis that was, and they don't want that to happen again. So I think rates are going to, because of this, and by the way, 2 or 3 more banks have had issues since this one in the last week and a half. So I think the Fed is going to keep rates a little chill for a little while and maybe not talk about it, but their next announcement is next Wednesday, which is going to be the 22nd, I believe. So we'll see what they do there, but I don't expect another hike right now. And if it is a hike, it's going to be small, maybe 0.25%. All right, story number 2. This is from CNBC. And again, the link is going to be down below in the description. Homebuilders say demand is rising, which is a good thing, but they're concerned about banking fallout, which is also understandable. So the article starts off with mortgage rates are high and volatile, homes are still pricey, and inflation is not in check. But even so, the nation's home builders are starting to feel better about their business. Now, this is a report we cover anytime it's released, and it's called Home Builder Sentiment. And there's 3 factors of it. There's current sales conditions, buyer traffic, and sales expectations. Now, since we've been doing the show for the last 5 or 6 years, we've always noted that anything above 50 in this builder sentiment is positive. So, and it's dipped way down since, rates have been going up and the market's been a little crazy. So of these 3 components, current sales conditions rose 2 points to 49. Buyer traffic rose 3 points to 31. So seeing more traffic is definitely a good thing. And then sales expectations in the next 6 months, however, fell 1 point to 47. So for it to fall 1 point, I don't think is a huge deal, but just the fact that there's more traffic and interest rates are chilling a little bit, like we covered in the last story, I think this is a good thing. And I'm really, really, really excited because we are starved for housing inventory in this country. I don't know the exact number, but I think we're 1.5, maybe 2 million homes below where we need to be in a quote unquote normal market. And it is still a seller's market, even though buyers are getting more concessions at this point. But for home builders, because they are the future, right? They're the ones building, hopefully, fingers crossed, building the next lower third of the market. I know they're building in all different, the lower end, the middle end, and the higher end thirds. I know they're building in all those ranges, but hopefully they're building that lower end, the more affordable ranges, because that's where we're desperately needing it so badly. So for them to be optimistic about their future and for this builder sentiment to be rising right now, I think that's an awesome thing. All right, third story from CNBC. Mortgage demand rises despite volatile interest rates. Again, another positive. You're going to see a ton of videos out there from all these clickbaity real estate agents or realtors or consultants, whatever they want to fucking call themselves. But there's a lot of positivity in the market right now. Now, to have a big bank fail, not a positive thing, but to have it affect interest rates in a more positive way, that can be better for the American people. So, and again, this article is going to be down below in the description. So demand for mortgages increased for the second straight week, despite some volatility in mortgage rates. Total application volume rose 6.5% last week compared to the previous week. And this is according to the Mortgage Bankers Association's seasonally adjusted index, which we cover on our show pretty much every week. We bring up some stat from them. So for the total application, meaning refis, HELOCs, new purchases, and all that stuff, for it to rise 6.5% week over week, I think is pretty great. Now, this article, which was from a few days ago, the interest rates were at they dipped down to 6.71%. I think they're now down to about 6.5%. So despite rates being higher, mortgage applications to purchase a home rose 7% for the week. Now, they were still 38% lower than a year ago, but interest rates were also 4 points lower at the time. And also, I wanted to note that applications to refinance a home loan increased 5% from the prior week, but we're down 74% from a year ago, which is very obvious. But to have that go up, I think that means that the American homeowners and buyers, I think it's putting more confidence back into the market. Again, I'm going to keep saying this, going back to the home builders and going back to new construction and inventory in general. I really hope we start seeing some more inventory here. I think that eases the American people's concerns, and just buyers will get out there. And to have refinance rates or refinance applications go up 5%, I think that's a big deal, because refinances are very, very rate specific. So to have them tick up a little bit, I think is a very big positive. All right, the fourth story. This is another one from CNBC. 84% of first-time home sellers have regrets. Now, we've covered on the show home buyers in that madness from the Rona, I can say it, the pandemic, the coronavirus outbreak, and all of the fallout from that, which it was pretty good for real estate agents, but it's been crazy for buyers out there. So we've done a lot of stories on buyers having buyer's remorse, meaning they bought too quickly or they bought because of FOMO, fear of missing out. This is an interesting one because it's sellers. So the article says a recent survey from Zillow finds 84% of first-time home sellers wish they had done something differently regarding the timing, pricing, or market strategy of the transaction. Notably, 9 in 10 first-time sellers think they could have sold their home for more money if they had made different decisions. So they go through 4 things here, and the 4 things are not having a winning pricing strategy, ignoring curb appeal, bad timing, and ignoring repairs. Now, they're pretty straightforward, and these should be things that your real estate agent covers with you up front and says, here's what we need to do, here's why it's a good time to sell, or maybe it's not a good time to sell, depending on your needs and what your family needs at this time. But not having a winning pricing strategy. Pricing is extremely important right now. So make sure you're having that conversation with your real estate agent. Now, if they're just giving you any price that you recommend, might not be the realtor for you. You need to make sure that not only is your real estate agent, has a good history of sales in this market, not from 2 years ago, in this market, they have a good record of actually selling homes and getting them sold, even if it takes a little longer nowadays, which is still crazy low compared to historically speaking. Make sure they have a good record of selling homes and a strategy to pricing your home. So make sure they do a comparative market analysis and they have a strategy around how they're going to sell your home. Okay. And then ignoring curb appeal. This one's kind of hit or miss. But if the front of your house is, a little beaten up, maybe throw some new poppies out there, some new sunflowers out there that have some really good color to them. Don't ignore those things, So, and again, these are regrets that home sellers, 84% of home sellers had. So a quarter of recent sellers felt they got their timing wrong. And that's what Zillow found. But timing the real estate market is, you can't try to predict it. You can try to time it a little bit, I guess, but as long as you have a good strategy with your real estate agent and how you're going to get your home sold from A to Z, that's the best plan you can have. The article mentions people who sold their homes and then rented with the expectation that home prices would come down are now finding that while prices are a bit lower, mortgage rates have skyrocketed. So, and by the way, prices may be lower, but values are not. Values are still going up at about a 3.5% rate right now. So values are not down, prices are down. So if you sold and then rented and it's been a year, you've now cost yourself quite a bit in what your purchase power, what could have been a year ago. So that's a totally understandable regret. Now, in ignoring repairs, you just should never ignore your repairs. If you're about to sell your home, have that conversation with your real estate agent, maybe do an inspection up front, especially in this market, so you can handle all those things up front. And it just makes it easier on the buyer so they don't request those things, because they are going to ask for the moon in this market. It's buyers are getting more and more concessions these days. So why not handle the repairs up front? So totally understandable. Now, the fifth and last news story that I'm going to hit really quickly is from Inman. And again, it's going to be in the link below. The DOJ, the Department of Justice, they say that tossing the pocket listing lawsuit prevents competition with MLSs. Now, a little bit of the lore here is that National Association of Realtors instituted in, I think, March of 2020, a clear cooperation policy, meaning you can't do any pocket listings. Pocket listings are when I take a listing and I only advertise it to the people that I think will want to buy the house. I'm not putting it in the multiple listing service. I'm not getting it out to the world. A brokerage called Top Agent Network, which started all the way back in 2010, and how this clear cooperation policy is affecting their business, because essentially they don't want to put their listings on the multiple listing service. They say that their listing service versus the multiple listing service creates more competition. Now, my point of view is that putting it on the biggest source of information for home buyers and home sellers, the multiple listing service, which is where Zillow and Trulia and blah, 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 they all get their data from. Getting the most eyeballs on your home is the best way to sell your home. Now, playing devil's advocate, maybe their website is smaller, but if they have a good network right there, they're going to sell these homes. So they filed a lawsuit saying, dude, this clear cooperation policy hurts us. Now, they did start their business based on not doing business through the MLS, through the multiple listing service. So it's kind of not NAR's fault, because they tried to make a clear cooperation policy for everyone. It's everything's out there. Within 1 day of taking a listing, you have to put it on the multiple listing service. Well, these guys didn't like it. So TAN's suit alleges, Top Agent Network's suit alleges, that National Association of Realtors and the San Francisco Association of Realtors violated a lot of antitrust and unfair competition laws for adopting the clear cooperation policy, which requires listing brokers to submit a listing to their MLS within 1 business day of marketing a property to the public. So what they're saying is that, no, we don't want to do that. We want to put it in our MLS, on our website, and sell it that way. We don't want to have to go through the MLS, which, by the way, if you pay your dues to a local MLS, you have to put it in there. So that's their feeling on that. Now, the rule is meant to effectively end the practice of publicizing listings for days or weeks without making them universally available to other agents. Some MLSs have instituted hefty fines to enforce the policy, including SFAR, which is San Francisco Association of Realtors. So the DOJ's arguments boil down to this, and this is from the article. The lower court should have considered the pocket listing policy's impact on the competition between listing services that agents and brokers pay for. Attorneys for the DOJ emphasized that the court should not automatically assume that any policy increasing visibility of properties to buyers is necessarily competitive because that would mean that no new service could challenge the dominance of MLSs, who will inherently have more members and therefore offer more visibility than any service when it first launches. So I have a big problem with this one because the court should not automatically assume that any policy increasing visibility of properties to buyers. You want increased visibility, right? And the multiple listing service is the best way to get out there. And then that disseminates to all the different websites around the world, and you get maximum views on your property, on your listing. So for them to say that it doesn't promote competition, I mean, this is fair game. Here's my listing. Everyone can offer on it. Everyone can come see it. Everyone can write their offers, right? Now, their point is that, well, we have our own thing. We don't want to put it through there. We want to get views how we get views. So I kind of understand their side, but to have that statement in there, that increasing visibility of properties to buyers isn't necessarily competitive. That's a silly fucking statement right there. So those are the top 5 news stories for this week. Let me know if I missed anything below, or let me know if you have any comments or thoughts on them. And once again, I greatly appreciate your time and your energy for watching this video. I hope you're having a rad day, and we'll see you real soon.